New York City was already a pressure cooker. Then it elected Zohran Mamdani. The NYPD is a violent, occupying force. A 33-year-old socialist who doesn't just want to reform the system. He wants to burn it down. From defunding the police to seizing empty apartments, even pulling billions from Israel. This isn't just a new mayor. This is a revolution. Let's examine how New York's electorate transformed into a socialist powder keg. The numbers tell a shocking story. Nearly half of all voters are now millennials or Gen Z, a 12-point surge since 2015. But here's what the data doesn't show. These aren't your parents' young professionals. The rent crisis created a generation of radicals. When 63% of voters under 35 spend over half their income on rent, housing as a human right stops being rhetoric and becomes survival. These voters didn't just want change, they wanted revenge against landlords and developers. Now look at this seismic shift. Latino and Asian voters now outnumber Black voters for the first time. Traditional Democratic power brokers like the Black churches and unions lost their grip because Mamdani spoke directly to delivery workers, the new working class. Apps like Uber and DoorDash accidentally created organizing tools. When drivers coordinated strikes through WhatsApp, they became a political army overnight. The real masterstroke? Converting gig worker frustration into electoral power. That 58% turnout jump came from Mamdani's campaign, turning app notifications into voting reminders. While Democrats chased suburban moderates, socialists were registering Deliveroo drivers at charging stations. This coalition didn't just vote, it hunted down every last ballot. Volunteer tenant patrols didn't just canvass buildings, they accompanied rent-striking neighbors to polls. The result? A turnout machine that out-hustled the machine politicians. Mamdani didn't win with vague progressive slogans. He weaponized 3 specific policies that struck at New York's rawest nerves. The subway revolution was pure psychological warfare. By pairing free transit with police removal, he gave commuters visceral proof of his worldview, that their daily suffering came from misplaced priorities. The genius was in the timing. When crime spiked after pandemic cuts, establishment Democrats panicked and demanded more cops. Mamdani doubled down on the opposite, betting, correctly, that young New Yorkers hated fare evasion arrests more than they feared crime. His campaign live-streamed transit justice raids, showing cops handcuffing Black teens over 275 fares, while Wall Street fraudsters walked free. Then came Landlord Armageddon. The 20% vacancy tax wasn't just policy, it was class warfare theater. Campaign ads showed luxury towers with dark windows while families slept in shelters. But the killer detail? The tax applied after just 3 months vacant, catching billionaire stamp collectors who treat NYC apartments as trophies. Amazon revenge completed the trifecta. By resurrecting the corpse of the HQ2 deal, Mamdani turned a 2019 defeat into 2024's rallying cry. His pledge to seize the promised 25,000 job subsidy for public housing wasn't just popular, it was personal for Queens residents who remembered being sold out. The impact? Look at these numbers. 93% of food delivery workers' union endorsed him. That's not just support. That's an entire economic underclass declaring political independence. When immigrant kitchen workers started phone banking in 12 languages, the old Democratic machine didn't stand a chance. What we're witnessing isn't just an election, it's a political homicide. The service workers' unions didn't just endorse Mamdani, they provided the foot soldiers that overwhelmed the Democratic establishment. While the hotel workers' union deployed members as poll watchers, the police unions found their precincts surrounded by protesters chanting, "Which side are you on?" The funding revolution was even more devastating. That 81% small donation rate didn't come from emails. It came from TikTok micro-donations during live-streamed tenant eviction defenses. Each $5 donation was a middle finger to big money politics. But the real coup was hijacking the Democratic brand. By running as a Democrat rather than third party, Mamdani turned the primary into a hostile takeover. His campaign manager wasn't exaggerating when she said, "We didn't beat the Democrats, we replaced them." The party apparatus is still there, but its soul now belongs to the DSA. This timeline shows the precise moment the old guard lost control, when Mamdani's TikTok videos hit 230 million views versus just $4.2 million spent on TV ads. That's not a gap. That's a burial. The establishment was buying airtime while socialists were colonizing smartphones. What we're seeing with the NYPD isn't just turnover. It's a calculated mass abandonment. The 1,555 retirements in 2024 represent more than just numbers. They're the department's institutional memory walking out the door. These aren't just any cops leaving. They're the 20-year veterans who know how to actually solve homicides, negotiate hostage situations, and navigate the city's complex underground networks. When they go, they take with them decades of street knowledge that no academy can replace. But the real crisis lies in the projections. If retirements hit 3,200 next year as expected, entire specialized units, the narcotics division, the gang unit, even counterterrorism, could collapse. Precincts in high-crime areas like Brownsville and the South Bronx may soon resemble ghost towns, with rookies fresh out of the academy left to hold the line alone. And here's the dirty secret the NYPD doesn't want advertised. The department has quietly lowered hiring standards, reducing the required college credits from 60 to just 30, while eliminating psychological screenings that once weeded out unstable candidates. The domino effects are already visible. District attorneys are now openly accusing the NYPD of slow-walking investigations into crimes that don't align with the mayor's priorities. Landlord disputes get immediate attention, while subway assaults go unprocessed. Meanwhile, Manhattan's luxury buildings are hiring private security at such a frantic pace that former Navy SEALs are commanding $500 day rates. The NYPD's collapse isn't just a public safety issue, it's creating a parallel justice system where protection goes to the highest bidder. Most alarming of all, the federal government is preparing for the worst. DOJ officials have drafted plans codenamed Gotham Shield that would deploy U.S. Marshals and even National Guard MPs if police absenteeism triggers chaos. We may soon witness the surreal spectacle of President Biden sending federal agents to protect New York from New York. Mamdani's victory isn't just a New York story. It's the opening salvo in America's next great political realignment. We're staring down three possible futures, each more destabilizing than the last. First, the red alert scenario. Chicago's Brandon Johnson and San Francisco's Dean Preston are already studying Mamdani's playbook. Within 18 months, we could see a wave of municipal socialist takeovers, with cities becoming radical policy laboratories. Imagine Los Angeles seizing Beverly Hills mansions for public housing, or Philadelphia abolishing its police department entirely. This urban revolution would trigger immediate retaliation from red state legislatures. Think Texas sending troopers to arrest Austin's city council, or Florida cutting off state funding to any socialist municipality. Then there's the blue counterattack. Democratic elites are already exploring nuclear options, changing primary rules to block socialist candidates, or even reviving superdelegates to override progressive insurgents. But this could backfire spectacularly by triggering third-party runs that split the liberal vote. Picture a 2028 presidential election where the Democratic nominee faces challenges from both the MAGA right and a DSA left, reducing the party to irrelevance. Most dystopian is the system overhaul scenario. As urban socialist enclaves functionally secede from state governments, we'll see the rise of a new political geography, blue city-states like NYC and SF operating as quasi-independent entities, locked in permanent Cold War with surrounding red regions. The tax base implications alone are staggering. When billionaires flee Manhattan for Miami, who funds the subway? When tech abandons San Francisco for Austin, who pays for universal health care? This could lead to the most radical wealth redistribution since the New Deal, or collapse into municipal bankruptcies that make Detroit look orderly. The ultimate question isn't rhetorical. If NYC proves socialist policies can work in capitalism's heart, it changes everything. Wall Street becomes an endangered species, and the American dream gets rewritten in collective terms. But if it collapses under police strikes and capital flight, the backlash could make the Reagan Revolution look tame. We're not just watching a mayoralty. We're witnessing the stress test of American democracy itself.